Really question, because it's a really good one. I quite like this one. It says, if Valencia wasn't your first managerial job, would you be a manager now? As in, you know, a championship job, or would you be a manager now, do you think? Because of that
I took the Valencia job, and the more I think about it, purely because of the fact that I knew the owner, and I felt like I was loyal to him, and I felt like I owed him something because he believed in me in terms of the businesses and stuff. But I'd been asked to go to Middlesbrough for an interview. Newcastle had asked to speak to me, and a couple of other clubs. Derby, I think, had asked to speak to me. All in that previous 3 years when I was on Sky, and I'd said no to everyone because it wasn't what I wanted to be. So I didn't want. I'd started my businesses. I'd started my media career. I didn't want to be a coach. I'd said no to Newcastle in a conversation. I've never said this publicly. It was actually someone from Sky who knew a contact at Newcastle, said, look, they want to speak to you. Someone from Sky contacted me about Middlesbrough as well, believe it or not, and said, look, they want to have a conversation with you, which I'm not saying that would have got me the job, but it could have got me the job. They were obviously speaking to me. I was on television. I was doing quite well on. When I came out of football in those first 2 years on television, I knew every player. I felt like I knew the game inside out, and felt like I could probably come across as though I could communicate the game, which different now 10 years out when you've distanced yourself from the game a little bit and you're disconnected. But I didn't want to be a manager. I didn't want to be a coach. I genuinely didn't. But then I said no to Peter the first time, and then he just said, look, I'd really like you to do it for me. I don't want to bring a manager in now because I know that they'll want to sign players in the January transfer window. I went in December. They'll want to, and I just need to get to the end of the season. And he said, just do it for me for 5 months. So I went in on a 5-month contract and didn't even last the 5 months because it became impossible for him, for me, for everyone. It was.
Had you done your coaching badges then? Had your badges? No.
So I did my B licence with you, which was when I was 31. Yeah. I did my A licence at 34, whilst I was still at United. You'll have obviously left at that point. I did my pro licence when I was 37, 38. Right. Okay. I was fully qualified. Right. Yeah. So I had the pro licence to go on any bench I wanted to in Europe. Right. And to be fair, I was always like, I said to you, didn't I? I said, look, you never know what's going to happen. Do your B licence, your A licence, and your pro licence. It'll actually help you with your punditry. And at the time, it does for a period because you're that pro licence. You're with 20 other managers, coaches, and you're talking about the game.
But the reason I answer that question because you've done all the coaching courses, but that then gives you a feeling whether you want to go into it or not.
But I didn't want to go into it. I didn't because I really was enjoying the media side, and I was enjoying. And you know something, you can't be arrogant enough, I don't think, to think that you're going to be a good coach if you're not thinking about coaching every single day of the week, which I wasn't.
Yeah.
And
do you still think about the Valencia? Do you think about it though? Like I just shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done.
No. I think the lessons from it, the learnings from it, like I think were massive for me about saying no. I mean, you were probably the first, but he used to say to us in the dressing room, "No is a sentence." Do you know what I mean?
He still says.
Honestly, it's one of the things I remember
all
him
the
saying.
time.
No is a sentence, and to be fair, no. I think around that time I said yes to a couple of things that came my way, and the one with Peter was purely around sort of just because of what I said before.
How long were you in Valencia, Gary, where you thought, was it quickly where you felt, I'm not feeling it? Listen, huge problems with the team, language, the whole, with your staff. Yeah. But when did you, because it's hard when you're a manager, you sit there going, it's not happening.
Do you know?
Was it quickly? Or?
There's a point I remember looking in my mirror in the morning thinking I look ill. I remember that.
After how long were you there?
I'd say probably that was February, probably 2 or 3 months. I'm thinking I'm ill. I literally looked at myself and thought, oh my God. But I remember we played 3 times against Bilbao in the Europa League quarter-final and a league game, and Valverde was the coach. And I remember him stood there. He'd played a different system than I thought he would, and then he changed during the game. And I remember thinking, I am nowhere near that.
Levels.
Honestly, and I remember that time thinking Valverde. You think about a coach on the job, because you know what, I blew my mind.
But you weren't expected to be on his level.
No, but what I'm saying to you is I felt like almost like massively inferior. And Roy, you know something? I was watching the game. I believe I can see a game from a gantry, and I can see everything that's going on, and there's no one can get much past us. But you put yourself down, stood on the touchline, and see a game where all you see is legs, or you're down in a bench and all you see is legs, and how you think of the game tactically or how they spot things, I have no idea. Because I just remember thinking, what's actually going on out there? You know what I mean? Did you feel like that?
But that happens to great managers as well. There's something going on in the game, and you're just thinking, what's going on? We've got to hang in here.
They have people up there now, though, don't they? Like
Valverde was definitely the first time I thought, oh my God, I'm miles off this. And then I coached against Simeone. I felt as though that day he was beating me up. He was beating me. His mannerisms, his energy down the touchline, intimidating.
These are great coaches, Gary.
Oh
Sorry
my
to
God.
interrupt
Yeah,
you.
but I could feel that. I could feel that.
But you're still a
He's
young
there,
coach.
he's there.
Yeah.
I was feeling
That's
that,
the
and
thing.
then
he's put himself in that situation. And when you
I
listen
agree
to
with
it,
that. But they're not
he's
all as
put
good as
himself
them
in
coaches.
Yeah, but he's put himself in a situation that deep down he's doing a favour for someone.
I know.
Do you know
Yeah.
the other one
wants to
was
be
Enrique,
there.
the 7-0.
Not going to be there quickly.
That night it was 7-0. It was the Copa del Rey. Not that important a competition to Barcelona. So they're 4-0 up, 5-0 up, and he didn't sub Neymar, Messi, or Suarez. And he was stood there. Just what he did at the end of the game. So Enrique, and I watched him last week actually in the Barcelona game. And I was looking at him thinking, I can see why you're going to get Paris Saint-Germain over the line. Maybe that night. At the end of the game, I went up to shake his hand. He walked straight past me, ignored me, and I thought, "You fucker."
He didn't shake your hand?
No.
Why?
So why do you think he's...
But I just thought, you know something? He's almost like...
nastiness?
He's nastiness, that horribleness. I thought, you know, so he's almost like saying, "Go home, little boy." I felt like that's what he was sort of the message he was sending to
But
me.
you still have that respect at the end, yeah?
But Joe was good to me. Rafa Benitez was good to me. We played Real Madrid. He was under pressure at the time there, but after the game he came and shook my hand. He had a chat. He obviously been at Valencia, and he was actually very good with me. He actually gave me probably 4 or 5 minutes.